This is episode 4, The Birthday.
Find out what we didn't like about Sorrento.
But did we laugh at Pompeii?
And are cruise excursions really worth the money?
Oh, when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. When the world seems to shine like you've had too much wine, that's amore. So, we're in Naples. Hurrah! We pull up to the marine terminal in Naples, which is built in the 1930s. A product of Mussolini's fascist regime. A blend of classic and modernist architecture. So, Lisa, we're getting off in Naples, and are we going to stop off there for some pizza and ice cream?
No.
Huh.
No, I've never been to Naples before, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure it's very nice, but there are other places I want to go to. I've heard lots about Capri, that's supposed to be fabulous, but high on my list is Sorrento. I've got a few friends they've been back regularly, year after year, they rave about the place. That's where I want to go for my birthday.
Sounds exciting.
Shall we go?
Yes, let's go. But Lise, it's your birthday. It's a special day. Where else would you like to go?
Well, do you know what? I've always wanted to go to Pompeii as well, because I love history and I'd love to go and see the site and see, what's standing there. I don't know a lot about Pompeii, but I would like to go and see it.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's go.
How much is that going to cost us?
It's going to cost us £89, but that is from 9 o'clock in the morning to about 5 o'clock in the evening, so it's quite a full day.
So it's a full day? Okay.
Lunch is included as well.
Right. We'll go and do that, and we'll come back and we'll tell you if it was worth it. So, we've been to Sorrento. What did you think?
I'll be honest, Sorrento wasn't my cup of tea. Now, that might shock a lot of people because I know lots of people love Sorrento. So, what was good about Sorrento? Well, there's lots of lovely upmarket shops there. So if you like shopping, I can totally understand why you'd like Sorrento. There's lots of little alleyways, lovely shops selling lovely produce. There's lots of bars, there's lots of cafes. There seems like a really busy vibe there. Loads and loads of people.
Yeah.
It's set on a cliff, and so you go to the edge of the cliff and you look down onto lots of wooden boards where people are sunbathing and jumping into the sea. It's very rocky and it's very steep. What I didn't like about Sorrento was I like a coastal walk, so I like to walk along a promenade, even if it's not flat, but as long as I can do the coastal walk and be by the sea, that's what I love. Now, for me, Sorrento, you just couldn't do that. I mean, you could go down in a lift to the bottom of the cliff, or you could walk down to the bottom, but there didn't appear to be a massive walk to do, and I may be wrong, because, we were only there for 2 hours. Also, another thing I really didn't like about Sorrento was how busy it was, and I think for me that was the thing that spoilt Sorrento for me. I was not expecting the smell of petrol, the amount of traffic, being pushed and shoved, and the alleyways are very narrow. You're like sardines packed in there. Now, this was July, it was the school holidays. I know people who've been in April and they've said it's lovely. So perhaps it was the time of year that we went. But those were the two main reasons I didn't like Sorrento. But if you like shopping and you like people watching, I can understand why you would like it. What we did, we went to a church, didn't we, and had a look in a church. We did,
yes. That was lovely. That was really pretty inside. We sort of found some nice quadrangles. There were a couple of small parks there, which are overlooking the sea. Those are very nice, but they're very small. We were expecting perhaps a little bit more open space.
We went into a building that was doing an art exhibition, and we walked around that. That was very pretty. You had to pay to get into the art exhibition. There were a few, there seemed to be a few art exhibitions that you had to pay to get in, but because we were only there for 2 hours, we didn't want to pay money to go into something that we'd only be able to spend 5-10 minutes in.
Yeah.
But from the point of view of a cultural experience, perhaps there was more than we
were able to see.
Yes, yeah. We went for lunch at a very nice restaurant overlooking the the sea. The views from that restaurant were lovely. Whilst it certainly is a very pretty, lovely place, it just isn't for me.
But on the positive side, I did get my ice cream.
You did.
But it was so hot. How quickly did it melt?
It melted within about 2 minutes. Got ice cream all over ourselves, yeah.
We were a mess, weren't we?
We were a mess.
So, that was Sorrento, and we're going on to Pompeii now.
We got to Pompeii, was very, very busy.
Very, very hot.
And very, very hot. When you get to Pompeii, the guide who was with us said, take a water bottle in with you, go to the toilet before you go inside because there's no water to buy inside, there are no toilets to go to inside either. So that's some really good advice. Do those things before you go in. I wasn't sure how big Pompeii was, were you?
No, not at all.
Did you know much about Pompeii before we went?
No, I didn't know a lot about Pompeii, apart from 79 AD, Vesuvius exploded, Pompeii gets covered in lava. What I wasn't prepared for, really, was the size of the place. It is huge. How big was it?
It's 165 acres.
And we probably explored just about 20% of it on our excursion. We were there maybe 2.5 to 3 hours, and really that was not enough to discover all of Pompeii. If you're able to, you'll be best advised to spend the whole day there. There's certainly enough to do and see, isn't there?
Definitely, definitely. And at the end you go to the museum and you can see casts of the bodies. That was really, really interesting. I really found that really thought-provoking.
It's a strange experience because you've got to remember that these aren't petrified remains. They are a plaster cast of the bodies as they were sort of found. But it feels really strange with people stood around taking photographs of, a mother holding the baby and people at the point of their death. It felt quite intrusive.
It did.
But it is fascinating.
Definitely, definitely. I could have spent longer in that part of the site. But anyway, we spent a good 3 hours there and it was fabulous. Well worth the money to go to Pompeii.
And what really surprised us was how well preserved a lot of the areas are, how well preserved some of the frescoes are and some of the paintings. And also the obsession with sex. We went to the brothel, didn't we, while we were there?
We did. We didn't partake in anything, but we just, went in and had a look, didn't we?
Yeah, and there were pictures on the wall which were quite graphic, and there was also a penis on one of the houses there, which was quite surprising. Oh, and one on one of the roads as well.
Yeah.
So that's
You never know what you're going to find in Pompeii.
They'd invented sex back then. Who'd have believed it?
So we then got back on the coach, came back to the ship. It was a very tiring day. It's a really long day. So if you're going to do Sorrento and Pompeii, get some comfortable shoes on and take lots of water. You do a lot of walking. Yeah,
the terrain is very up and down, isn't it? There's, it's not a place for pushchairs or wheelchairs, I would say.
No.
It probably was a not particularly high energy activity, but certainly you need a reasonable amount of fitness because it is a whole day and there is a little bit of climbing and scrambling to do amongst the ruins.
Yeah.
But the thing that surprised me also was that the Roman roads are still in very good condition. And you look at the potholes outside in our road. Yeah. Shocking.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's get the Romans back to do it.
And do you think that excursion was worth £89 each?
I think it was, because we wanted to go to 2 places in one day, and I think again what we found with those 2 centre places is that if we were to do it ourselves we'd probably spent even less time because we'd have been arranging a lot of the travel and transport from place to place. So in order to do the 2 centres, I think it was the 2 locations, it was definitely worth it.
We also had a guide around Pompeii involved in that cost, so I think if we'd have just gone around Pompeii on our own, it wouldn't have been as meaningful because he did point out a lot of things about the buildings to us. So it was really informative having someone to share that information rather than just using a guidebook or your phone to get that information from.
And it's one of the tours where you wear an earpiece, so you can be a little distance away, sort of looking at things for yourself. So it's not that you're having to follow a guide around and remain within 6 feet of that person. You're able to sort of do your own thing, take your own photographs, but you're still getting information about what you're seeing and what's up ahead. So that was good.
And what it is worth saying is that some of the excursions that day were only half-day excursions, and they were quite expensive for half-day excursions. And I understand that not everybody, feels able to go out for the day, but, certainly have a look at the cost and how long these coach excursions last, because sometimes you'll find that the excursion only lasts for 3 hours, and for £20 more, you've got an 8 or 9 hour excursion, and lunch included. So, consider that when you're looking at coach excursions from your cruise ship.
Definitely. So, in summary, would we go there again? Lisa, Sorrento.
I might go back to Sorrento out of season, but that would be the only time I would go back.
And Pompeii?
Yes, I would definitely go back to Pompeii. Definitely. How about you?
Definitely. There's a lot more to explore in Pompeii, and they are at this very moment excavating some more of it, so there is always going to be more to see when you go back. So if you've enjoyed this video, if you've found something worthwhile, please give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you again in
Valletta.
Bye.
Bye.